Start streaming again, and I can connect. Boom. All right. If it would connect. All right. If it would connect. All right. If it would connect. All right. If it would. Customization details. Let's do this as public. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another live. Today we're going to be talking about the road to success. Yeah. So today I'm going to be talking about the road to success, and so far my road to success. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm in the military and I've been doing my YouTube videos, and I've been doing some stuff in my personal life, just in my methods of going about self-improvement. But the road to success is pretty long, hard, and uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable because you're doing things that really only takes discipline. Being a bigger person, having self-control, having the qualities that make you different from other people. And society doesn't really like different very much. So in the grand scheme of things, you really do end up being lonely, or rather being alone, because I don't feel lonely. I have family and I have friends. I don't really feel lonely, quite frankly. But I want to talk about the road and the shortcomings and the bad times that you would have, because they will come. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And usually they come when you least expect it. Hard times come when you're not planning for it, when you're not expecting it, and when you're not ready for it. Which is beautiful, because people love that things would get easier, but they usually don't. And, you know, there's not much else to it. You think it would get better, but it just doesn't. Even for myself, and I am speaking about myself in general, I've had bad times. On the good day when things are going really well and no one seems to be doing anything ridiculous or crazy, someone usually says some stuff to really tick me off. And it's funny because I wouldn't do anything to deserve the sad treatment, but they do it anyway. That's just people for you. They just do it anyway. And reality is you're better off just not beating yourself up about it. Beating yourself up about it only gets you hurt. And when I mean hurt, I mean absolutely devastated. Because you'd be left thinking, what am I doing wrong? But the reality is, it's not your fault. And I think in the other video I said that it wouldn't have been something along the lines of how you treat someone will not determine how they'll treat you. Or it's not a direct impression, or it's not your fault. The way they treat you is not your fault. It's solely their fault, because a good person is going to treat you good regardless of what you do. And when I came to that realization, my eyes were open, because a lot of times I wouldn't treat people very badly. I wouldn't treat them badly. I would try my best with what I had. And as I improved, I started to treat people even better because I dealt with my issues and I dealt with my traumas, but people started to treat me worse. So that just changed my whole perspective on the interpersonal relationships I have with people and relationships, the past ones especially. Like the past ones, I realize a lot of them, they tried to love me or care for me with what they had, but a lot of them they didn't have the love that I needed. Really, they didn't have the love that I needed. And I knew I had to forgive them, each and every one of them. Forgive each and every one of them, no matter what they did, no matter what they said, because they're human, they make mistakes, and me carrying it through my life would have only hurt me more. So now I don't have any animosity. I don't have any hate. I don't have any resentment. I I really don't. I just don't want to see the people that did me wrong in my circle anymore. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially when you're trying to achieve something, like you're trying to be successful, you're trying to achieve great things. You're probably better off not harboring the bad people around you. They're so draining. They're so draining. They take a lot of effort, they take a lot of energy. Toxic people, they get you into issues that you don't even need to be involved in. And really, it's not worth it in the short term or the long term. But for some people, it's worth it for the short term because they're not doing anything. But usually people like myself, they're trying to do something in the long term. So they're not really thinking short term in general. You're just not interested. But stay in focus. Eyes on the prize. No doubt about it. It's important. The minute you get distracted, the minute you let relationships, you let friends, you let company, these distractions, do what they are, distract you, you'll notice a lot of things. You'll notice that you'll have a longing for certain things. You'll have the fear of missing out on some things. You will be inclined to practice certain things, do certain things that you won't usually do. Go to parties, possibly go drink. If you're not strong or level-headed, that's what would happen, and that's what has happened to me. I'd find myself in places and around people that I didn't want to necessarily be around, but I was there because of company and wanting to be a part of something. When you lose that feeling or interest to be a part of everything or to be a part of something, to attach yourself to a bigger thing, and I'm not talking about careers. Even in careers, when you get too attached to careers and jobs, you do lose a lot of yourself. And that's something that I am aware of as well. But you have to remain an individual. You do need to do. Because at some point in time, you're going to have to retire. Or at some point in time, you're not going to be working anymore. Or at some point in time, you're going to need to do some things different. And to do some things different, you're going to take some changes. Or just straight up, the job that you work in, you can't work it anymore. Your legs don't work like they used to. The lifting don't feel the same. You understand? So At some point, you really do just see us different. And I don't know when that happened for me, but at some point, I did see the world differently, much differently than I do now. Much differently. But I'm glad because I'm able to do what I'm doing now, focus on my career, focus on YouTube, talk in front of the camera. I'm no longer fully inclined to just sit there and then just watch someone else's content. I want to create content, which is why I'm doing it now. And I'm going because I want to do it. I'm not doing it with the expectation that a lot of people are going to watch, because if they don't, they don't. But I am different. I'm comfortable in my skin. I'm comfortable of being who I am. And those characteristics and those qualities are needed when you're trying to succeed and do something, because people do fight against you, subconsciously or not. They distract you. They distract you. And there's nothing you could do about it except to make the difference. Make the distance, rather. And I've made some distance. I don't isolate from my friends. Some of the friends that I do have, they aren't focused. And I don't know if they're going to be focused in the future, but for right now, they're just not focused. They are not focused. And I'm focused. But they're going to look at me and tell me I'm weird, which is fine. That's another thing. Whenever you have a feeling that you are different, a lot of the times you're gonna feel out of place when you're around people for the most part. And those that have been there, they know what I'm talking about. They know what I'm talking about. They know the feeling. And when they get that feeling, they can't deny it that they are different. And the people around you make it worse because they're telling you that you're different by telling you that you're weird. They ostracize you or try to, or they don't invite you. And that's another thing. You have to respect yourself. You need to respect yourself, respect who you are. And if you overcame some things, you need to respect that you overcame those things by yourself, and you can and will be an individual. Because you are. You may long to be around people, and believe me, it's not that you belong to be around that specific person. You just tell yourself that. You just long to have company. And when you're aware that that's all you really want, there are healthier, better ways to fill that need. Like being around friends that are going to push you to be and do. Not around people that don't want to achieve anything, that drag you down. And there's a lot of people that do that for free, actually. You don't need those type of people either, at all. I can't stress that enough. Those people, they are so draining, they are so toxic, and they will not make your life any better. They're gonna make your life less than, because you're gonna always feel like I have so many people in my life, but I feel so alone. And that's why I don't feel alone, because I don't have a lot of people like I did before, who I had their numbers, or I would send messages to them and they would not answer. And one day, like, it all changed. I think it was when I had my chemo that I realized that the people, they aren't gonna understand. And they got their own life going on. and I had mines. Mines was just close to coming to the end, and theirs, usually my age, were just starting, so they had no reason or incentive to really check for me. Not a good friends, my good brothers, my good friends, the sisters and the brothers that I have, they did check on me. They did keep tabs on me. They did ask me how I was doing. And for that, I won't forget those people. Even if I were to forget, my body won't allow me to forget because I treat them differently. And I've witnessed it. Some people, I am more drawn to interact and engage with. And others, I really couldn't care less because I've experienced their selfish ways when I was on my deathbed, basically. I've had people ask me for things when I was sick, and these people are asking me for stuff for work, and I'm like, bro, I'm not even in Nassau. I'm literally fighting cancer. And one of the dudes is like, yo, that's crazy, my bad. And then I didn't hear from him again. Yeah, it's wild, actually. It's wild. But you know, that's what they do. That's human nature, some people at least. They're really selfish. And when you show the same energy, they're gonna call you selfish. And in fact, some people are so out of touch with reality because they're so delusional. When you're trying to achieve something, they're gonna be shocked that you're not putting them first. Like some girls, they're gonna be shocked that I'm dedicated to doing some things at work and I'm not gonna report sick. I'm not gonna stop doing what I'm doing for them. And I can understand that being my wife or my kid or my family, but this is a girlfriend. And after being in enough relationships, it's safe to say that I don't hold relationships to the highest regard. Not on the same level as my goals and my dreams. And people have tried to make me feel bad for it. Doesn't really work in the long run though. It really doesn't. Because I know in the long run, the fruit of my labor is gonna be there. And a girlfriend may just choose not to. I remember saying that in a way that means I don't value them. I just value the fruit of my labor more than just a typical relationship. Now, I will say that it's different when you're married. Your success opportunity also changes, and the statistics has shown that men that are married and have kids usually make more money. But another thing to be aware of is who you're marrying. Is you can marry someone that stress you out and you'll have like a landslide kind of effect. They stress you out. They, what's that word I'm looking for? They are draining. They are not good for your health and your well-being. And as a result of stress, which is something that I experienced as well, my skin started to change. Like my face, I started to have like spots on my face and scabs. And I'm not blaming that person, because really I shouldn't have stayed as long as I did if I was noticing these things. And that's another thing. People hold on to relationships so much and so hard. And what's funny is, even in marriage, it says until death do us part. So there is a clause that that person is going to leave anyway. And for those people that read the Bible, and if you read the book of Ecclesiastes, you will find the book speaks about it's pointless, futile things that we fight over, that we keep so dearly. Marriage, fame, wealth, pride. Like, it's so funny. When you're in your casket, you can't tell what's going on above ground. You're not understanding what's going on. It's no longer your concern. And that person that you left is no longer bound to you, because you're no longer there. And for some people, that's a hard thing to accept. For me, it's not. Because I understand how this thing works. You may be married, but inevitably, that is going to end between both of you at some point. And if both of you pass away at the same time, it still won't matter. And yeah, it's not gonna matter. And it brings me back to my point. If it doesn't matter in the grand scheme, you may as well do what you desire. But if you're gonna do what you desire, as a man, the things or the fruit of your labor should be tangible, and it should be things that bring you happiness or enjoyment. Some people, this may be family, this may be things, this may be hardships, which is where you need to do your digging, do your personal investigation on yourself. Really look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. Sit on the edge of the bed, like Jordan Peterson would say, and really think, what could I do right now that would make my life better, that I should do but I'm not doing? And you're gonna get an answer. You're gonna get an answer. Now, if you like that answer, if you don't like that answer, that's completely up to you. But you're gonna get an answer. And after you get that answer, you do something with that information. But I just think the world is just lost. A lot of people are just lost, and that may appear as arrogant to some people, but I don't care because I'm right. I'm right. If you look throughout history, been many successful people, married or single, you would see that to be true. They would inevitably sacrifice certain things in their life to achieve certain things in life. Albert Einstein wasn't married or didn't have kids. Jesus and a few of his disciples, I think all of his disciples actually, none of them had kids. None of them were married. And some people, their whole life's purpose is to serve their marriage, serve their family, serve their kids, sacrifice for them. And to those people, I commend them. I'm not going to discredit them. I can see myself doing that. Right now, though, at my age, the situation that I am in, I would not, because I'm not married and I don't have kids. So I'm going to focus on what I can right now. And people see, this is why I'm saying that I'm right. I know this, but they don't want to accept what I'm saying. But virtually, it is impossible to achieve anything in life and have everything you want. You're not going to have everything you want. You're going to have to sacrifice something at some point. And you made that choice solely on what you desire. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Don't take any influence from anybody else. Don't look to anybody else. And most definitely, stick to what it is that you desire and don't change it for anybody else. The day you change that for somebody else is the day you're going to regret that you ever did. And the day you make a decision based on somebody else is the day you're also going to regret that you didn't. Because it didn't come from your core. It's really important for these things to come from deep inside, from within. Because it makes you whole, it makes you full, it makes you feel satisfied with the skin that you're living in. And that's really most important in life. If you're not comfortable in the skin that you're living in, if you're not comfortable with the things that you achieve, and you're not comfortable with what you have going on in your life, and you can do something about it, and you don't do it, you're going to be miserable every single day of your life until you do so. Every single day. Every single day. I've experienced it. Every single day. I chose to not listen to the voice within. I chose to deny myself. And I'm not meaning in a selfish way. I'm talking about I denied my wants and needs as if I wasn't a person. And when you do that and people see that you do that, they start to treat you as if you're less than a person, or they expect you to continue doing that. We set expectations. And you don't want to do that. You don't want people to expect that you're going to bend over backwards for them. You don't want people to treat you with the expectation of you sacrificing yourself. It's a horrible feeling. It's a horrible feeling. But for me as an individual, I'm just happy that I no longer have that feeling. Honestly, I no longer have that feeling, and I can breathe, I can function, I can do things, I can take risk in my career. I'm willing to sacrifice. And it's also building my character because in the event of me having a family, if I meet that special lady, then I would be willing to sacrifice for her, just like I would have sacrificed. The discipline that I would have, I would be able to use the fruit of that discipline for them, for that family, for my family. And it's a beautiful thing, really. And I encourage all young men to do the same. Focus. 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 Because you need to train your focus ability from early. You don't wait until you meet that person to learn how to focus. You don't wait until you meet that person to sort out your issues. And you definitely don't wait until you meet that person to make sense of your life. Because who knows? What if that person that could have been the best thing in your life, as in terms of a person, what if that person could have been the best person you met for you and you weren't ready? Imagine you meet the person of your dreams and you weren't ready. Imagine you met opportunities or came across opportunities, chances to be so much better as an individual, but you weren't ready. You don't want to be in that predicament. You don't want to be in that predicament. You don't want to find yourself in that situation. And I promise you don't want to feel that. You just don't. You just don't. Another thing I want to talk about is combative people, combative women, combative relationships, people that disagree just to disagree, that aren't very supportive. Cut ties. Cut ties. It's not gonna work. You have dreams, goals, and aspirations for a reason, people. And if you can dream it, and I do believe this, if you can dream it, you can achieve it at some point. It just is going to take a lot of work and effort. But if they can't see that, then you're going to be restricted. You're going to be restricted heavily. They're going to be combative. And they're going to be combative in other cases and circumstances. Can you imagine being in a relationship with someone that doesn't see eye to eye with you? A lot more than you would. And some people, really, you would talk to them and you would really think, are you disagreeing just to disagree? Or are you disagreeing because... Are you disagreeing because you have a different perspective? And in a relationship versus a friendship, they are very similar. The friendship is going to say both. I disagree and why I disagree. In a relationship, the person is going to say, usually if they are really good, they're going to give their 2 cents. But they're going to say it in such a way that they support you, but they're going to give their 2 cents. And it's up to you as a mature individual, if you are mature, which is why we say that you got to develop yourself before you get in a relationship. If you are a mature individual, then You'll be ready for those uncomfortable circumstances and situations. You'll be ready for those hard to swallow truths. You'll be ready for when people disagree with you and your plans. And you'll be ready for constructive criticism from the person or persons that you love the most. So, honestly, I really just do tell people this. Do it. Throw yourself on the edge. Take the risk. Be stupid. Or, from people's perspective, be stupid. Because if you're doing it, you're not necessarily stupid. I would say that you're brave. And there may be a thin line between bravery and stupidity. But for you and your goals, it's different. You need to act like it's different because you are different. And this is why we're here. I'm different. You're all different. And it's time for us to walk in those positions that we do have. Operate in the capacity that you have been afforded. So, yeah. I think that's going to be all for today. How long have I been streaming for? I don't think it's been too long. No, it doesn't seem that it was too long. 37 minutes. But that's going to be all for today, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you all in the future with another topic. Hopefully with a visitor. Looking forward to that in the future. But thank you for tuning into the Redemption Podcast, and you guys take care.